Hello and welcome back to another UCL Fantasy video. Today we have the final video of the league stage, excluding the team selection of course, because it is the final match day and it is the match day that matters really. This is the one that a lot of teams must win and it looks like it could be really good for picking up some points. Now there's a couple things to keep in mind with match day 8, and it's that after this match day we're all getting unlimited transfers, so no matter what you do this match day is just going to happen for this round of games. Now obviously all the games are playing at the same time. You can see the deadline just below my face here. Every single game in matchday 8 will be kicking off at 8 PM on Wednesday night, which means there is a couple of changes to the usual format, and it means you're only going to get one captaincy. So of all the 18 games that are playing, you have to pick one player that you think is going to score the most points out of the entire round of fantasy fixtures. And it also means that our subs bench literally does not matter whatsoever. So I know a lot of people would have kept a wild card and a limitless for match day 8 just in case of rotation, and so you can target the teams that do have to play for something. But obviously in doing that you don't get to make the best use of the bench, because obviously there isn't any reason to sub players out. So you're getting your full starting 11 and that is it. So we do have our team today. We've obviously got everything else where you can obviously help build your team for this week, but our limitless and our wildcard video is actually the exact same. You'll see the team at the end of the video, but I actually think the best team for this match day fits within that 100 million budget, which means whether you're on a wildcard or you're on a limitless, the best team, is suitable for you. This is using a completely cheap bench, going for the cheapest players on the bench, because it means absolutely nothing. Obviously if you are on a limitless you don't have to do that, but the starting 11 is really what matters. Now as you can see on the screen, we have the as it stands. We are basically looking at the teams that have secured their positions and teams that have to win in order to progress in the tournament. So there is 4 teams that have secured the top 8. Now this is essentially mathematically confirmed, so a lot of these teams aren't, like for the Inter Milan for example, I'm pretty sure they're 99% secured in the top 8. So I've put them in here specifically, but you can go and look at some Twitter pages. I know Football Meets Data is a really good one, and it tells you the exact chance of teams finishing in the top 8 or the top 24, but we've got a rough look at this pretty much. So in case of securing the top 8, we've got 4 teams. It's Liverpool, Arsenal, Barcelona and Inter Milan, which means that they essentially have nothing to play for in this match day apart from money at the end of the day. I think there was something I was seeing in match day 7 that Liverpool would get 25 million euros if they ended up topping the league, so that is definitely something to keep in mind. But if you're on a wild card or a limitless, I think you are wanting to go for qualification rather than places. So really you want to probably be avoiding these 4 teams that have already secured their place in the top 8 of the tournament. For teams that have secured the top 24, these are teams that are extremely unlikely to finish in the top 8. I think most teams above do have like a decent chance of finishing in the top 8 depending on results, but these 3 teams are secured in the top 24 and have a less than 5% chance of making it to the top 8. Now one of those teams is Celtic, who I know a lot of people will have like Nicholas Kuhn or maybe 1 or 2 Celtic players after the Young Boys at home match in match day 7. Wouldn't be looking to get any of those guys. Just sold off their striker in Kyogo, and obviously Dezameda picked up a red card, so there's basically no good attacking line for Celtic at the minute, and I don't think they're going to push for anything further. Real Madrid, a little bit different. Real Madrid obviously want to be winning every single game, want to top or do as well as they can in the Champions League, but they have, I believe, a 3% chance of finishing in the top 8, and they need about 8 results to go their way in order to finish there. So for me, I don't think Real Madrid really have a chance at that top 8, and there's really no reason for them to push for lots of goals and stuff. So again, it's another one you probably wouldn't want to be looking too much into. Obviously, and Mbappe is on fantastic form right now, and you could easily go there. But when you're only picking 3 striker spots, you probably want to be looking elsewhere. The same with Juventus if you were looking at any Juventus players. Now we've obviously got a list of teams that are relegated as well. You probably don't have any of these players, but if you did, you want to be getting them out. You don't want to be bringing in anyone who's already out of the tournament, because there's no reason for them to be motivated to go out and get points. Must get a result for the top 8 position, must get a result for the top 24 position. These are teams that are on the verge of qualifying or on the verge of, you know, automatic qualification in that top 8. So again, these are teams you want to be trying to get. We'll take a look at their fixture difficulty as well on match day 8 so we know who actually is the best for that. But for now, out of these 5 boxes, it is going to be those bottom 2 with the must get results that you want to be, you know, targeting those kind of players from. So looking a little bit more in depth at those teams that have to get results, there's pretty much 10 games on here that something really does mean something to some of the teams. So you can see what's at stake pretty much with these 10. You can have a look at it. You can pause the video if you like. While you're paused, make sure to leave a like as well. Takes you 2 seconds, and subscribe for lots more UCL fantasy content. But yeah, as you can see, there is obviously a lot of teams on here that are actually playing against each other and both need results. For example, Lille and Feyenoord are both needing to win this game if they want to finish in the top 8. I'm pretty sure they're both already secure in the top 24, but they're both obviously going to want that top 8 game. So that could be a really, really good fixture to target if you're wanting goals and stuff like that. Jimenez, Jonathan David, 2 players who've done really well in the league stage. You could potentially look there if you think Lille and Feyenoord is going to have a lot of goals in it. The same case with Stuttgart and PSG. Both of them have to win in order to qualify just for the knockout stages as well. Whoever loses is likely going to be put out. So it's another one where there could easily be goals galore in those games. PSG obviously have the likes of Barcola, Dembele, Hakimi. Stuttgart, you're looking at Milo, maybe Mittelstadt as well, but obviously with him being a defender, he's probably unlikely going to keep a clean sheet, so you probably don't want to be looking too much into the defenders. For some of the games as well, you're looking at teams who have to win, and they're playing against teams who have nothing to play for. For example, Sporting in the top left, they must win in order to qualify for the top 24, and they're playing against Bologna, who are already out. So again, nothing to play for there in Bologna. You could see Sporting taking a few goals off them. The same with someone like Atalanta. Obviously Barca have been fantastic in this league stage, but now they don't have anything to play for now that they've secured their place in the top 8. Atalanta must win against Barca away from home in order to do so. So Atalanta are going to be very attacking, and it is a game where you could potentially see Barcelona being a little bit laid back because they don't have anything to play for. So like I said, feel free to pause the video and take a look at each one of these and you can see what each team has to play for. But let's take a look at some players. So we've got no real new injuries or anything this week. There's nothing, obviously it is only like 5 days ago since match day 7 concluded. But in terms of new missing players, whether that's suspensions, injuries or even transfers in January, we have 3 players suspended for this match. Mendes, Vinicius Jr. and Dyson Maeda, 3 players who either picked up or important players, some players that have over a 1% ownership. Vinicius Jr. picked up a yellow card, which means he's suspended for match day 8. The same with Nuno Mendes. Dyson Maeda, 1% owned, picked up a red card, and he's of course suspended for match day 8 as well. Alphonso Davies picked up a hamstring injury and he's ruled out for a good few weeks, so he's not going to be available for match day 8 either, unfortunately. And as of so far I've seen, we've got 2 transfers on the horizon, and it's Kyogo going to Rennes, so he's likely going to be unavailable for match day 8, and Adeyemi as well. He's 5% owned, a big player so far in the league stages in terms of points. There is transfer rumours over the weekend that he could be making a move to Napoli, so if that happens before Wednesday, there's a chance obviously that he will not be available. So just keep that in mind. Obviously keep an eye out on news. I post all the team news and stuff over on my Twitter. The link is in the description for that, so make sure you go and give that a follow. So a bit of a change in the ball recoveries list this week. Actually, a lot of the players who were at the top of the list didn't really pick up too many ball recoveries. I think Pacho, he only picked up like 3. I think he only got 1 point for the ball recoveries in match day 7, but he is still at the top with 65, followed by Alexandro for Lille. He is at 60 ball recoveries. Now, Hein, I believe he was sitting at like 9th last week after just popping into the top 10. He picked up a ton and obviously a nice clean sheet as well. He's 4.1 4.9 million. He will likely rise in match day as well, up to 5 million. He's sitting in third now for ball recoveries. Obviously, they're playing against Barcelona in a must-win match. Could be some ball recoveries there for him. Doubt there's going to be a clean sheet, but it is possible with Barcelona not really have anything to play for. He could be an option if you really wanted to, but I think with the defenders, you're probably going to want to, target clean sheets on the limitless or the wild card. For the rest of the list, we have our usual suspects. You've got the likes of Kim, really nice fixture against Bratislava. For me, I would absolutely be having him in this week. Bayern have great clean sheet odds, which we're just about to look at, and obviously ball recoveries for him is fantastic. Then you've got a lot of players who aren't really as popular. Rualt, who I'm pretty sure is suspended for this week as well. Spajic, you've got Otamendi, Upamecano, Bondar and Marquinhos to finish it off. So this is how the clean sheet odds are looking for this week, and it is Bayern Munich at the top with a huge 69% when it comes to their clean sheet odds against Slovan Bratislava. So if you aren't looking to triple up on the Bayern attack, which I don't think is a great idea because there is so many good attacks that you can go for, I would definitely be looking to get in a defender, and obviously we just mentioned Kim with the ball recoveries. I think he's definitely the player to get in that Bayern defence. Leverkusen in its second, they're up against Sparta Prague at home in a must-win match. Definitely wanting a triple up for Leverkusen, Florian Wirtz being the main guy in attack. And in my opinion, I would just go for the double defence in Frimpong and Grimaldo. That's your triple up that's been fantastic in the league stage for Leverkusen, and I definitely would be looking to get all three of those guys in. Probably number one priority as well. The other four teams that we have in the green section for clean sheet odds is Manchester City. They're playing against Club Bruges. I believe Bruges just need a draw against Man City in order to secure qualification. I think they do still have a good chance of qualification even if they do lose, but I think Bruges are going to be very defensive, which could open up a clean sheet opportunity for Man City. We've got Atletico as well. They're playing away from home against Salzburg. They need to win that match as well for top 8. Salzburg are already eliminated, so a really good opportunity for a clean sheet for Atletico. Sporting in there as well. No real, I think De Bast is one of the higher scoring defenders. You could always go for him. Israel is one of the cheaper goalkeepers if you do find yourself over budget on the wild card this week. He could be a decent one to go and get because they are 5th for clean sheet odds, which is brilliant. Then you've got Borussia Dortmund as well. I don't think they've got anything to play for. I think they are just kind of hovering about that middle of the table spot. Not really get a chance at top 8, but aren't going to drop too far down either. They have a 41% chance of a clean sheet, and again, you've got a lot of good Dortmund defenders available. You've got Ben Sabeni, who's now back from suspension. You've got Schlotterbeck, who was one of the best for ball recoveries in last year's UCL Fantasy. Emre Can, who's playing out his position and does take penalties as well. All really good options. So again, you can take a look at this full list and decide what kind of defenders you want to get. Obviously, you probably want to go for 3 defenders. I think the optimal formation for match day is going to be a 3-4-3 in order to capitalise on the most attackers possible. So if you're going for 3 defenders, you probably want to look mainly at these green sections. You want a Bayern defender, and you probably want the 2 Leverkusen defenders in there. So that is probably your defence sorted. Then we've got the over 2.5 goal odds, and once again, Bayern is an absolutely massive percentage with an 85% chance of picking up 3 or more goals, which is, again, absolutely essential to pick up some Bayern players. Now, I think they are another team similar to Real Madrid, where they have a really, really low chance of picking up the top 8. I want to say it's about 9 to 10% chance of picking up a top 8 position, so very unlikely. So there is a chance that they do actually rotate in match day 8. So again, keep an eye on predicted lineups, keep an eye on team news to see who that could be, but you definitely want to be getting at least 2 Bayern attackers, whether that's Harry Kane, whether that's Musiala, whether that's Elise. You want to be picking up at least 2 of them. Leverkusen again in there with an over 2.5 goal odds chance. Again, Florian Wirtz, one of the most essential players I think to get in midfield. Man City with a very high chance as well. Erling Haaland, Phil Foden, they're probably the 2 players you want to be looking at. And then filling around the rest of the greens, you've got Real Madrid, Kylian Mbappe, Jude Bellingham, Rodrigo, who done really well in matchday 7, could be a pick as well. Dortmund, of course, there might not be an Adeyemi. Someone like Gittins could be a really good pick. Guirassy, of course, has been absolutely brilliant as well. Then for AC Milan, I think you're mainly looking at Pulisic. Rafael Leao could be a decent option as well. Reinders in midfield could be decent too. So with all that being said, these are the fixtures I think that you probably want to be looking at targeting, and the fixtures you probably want to be looking at avoiding. So their target teams are the teams who have something to play for and have a decent enough fixture. So we've got 7 teams here, which I think you really want to be filling your team out with, and that's Man City, Milan, PSG, Aston Villa, Sporting Lisbon, Atletico Madrid and Bayer Leverkusen. 7 teams there, so it gives you plenty of options. They've all got decent enough fixtures. A couple of away games in there for Milan, PSG and Atletico, so maybe, you know, I'll cut back a little bit on there, but likes of Man City, Aston Villa, Leverkusen and Sporting, you probably want at least one player from each of these teams, at the very least, because these are, you know, good fixtures and must-win games or must-draw games for each of them. For our avoid teams, these are the teams that are already qualified with essentially nothing to play for. Liverpool, Barcelona, Arsenal, Inter and Juventus. I've not got Real Madrid in here because it is still a decent fixture for Real Madrid. They are playing against Brest away, but Brest are also playing for a potential top 8 spot, so I don't think it's going to be, you know, an easy game for Real. So I do think they could be in that avoid section, but someone like a Kylian Mbappe obviously can do anything. But I definitely would be looking to fill out your team with those top 7. So using those top 7 teams, this is the shortlist that I have put together, and these are going to be your captaincy options as well. You want to be picking players who have a good fixture and have something to play for, so you've got plenty of options here for your Matchday 8 captaincy. For Man City, Foden, Haaland, both great captaincy picks. Pulisic for Milan has been on great form. Probably wouldn't captain him in an away game. So again, you could, you know, use that home advantage. Leaves your captaincy down to Man City, Sporting, Leverkusen or Aston Villa. If I'm being honest, I think the top 3 for captaincy this week is probably going to be Erling Haaland, Gyökeres from Sporting and Florian Wirtz. I think that is your 3 best captaincy options. Obviously there is plenty of differential picks that you can go the route of, but for me I've picked out, you know, the best players I think from each of these teams that do have good minutes, you know, good chance of returning and just all round should pick up a lot of points. And that finally brings us down to the best team for Matchday 8. So this is the team I have put together. Again, you can see 4 absolutely terrible players. They are just the worst players in their positions, essentially. We've got 1 midfielder, we've got 2 defenders, and we've got the goalkeeper in there as well. So for me, as I said before in the video, I think a 3-4-3 is going to be the best formation. You're getting the 3 attackers out of it, and you're limiting the defenders, because I don't think they are going to have... you know, I don't think there's going to be a lot of clean sheets involved this week. So I think the defence pretty much writes itself. I think you definitely go for Grimaldo, you definitely go for Frimpong, which leaves you 1 extra defender spot, and it definitely goes to someone like Kim. Bayern are the top for clean sheet odds this week, and he's brilliant for ball recoveries as well. So for me, I think that's going to be a very popular back 3 for people on Limitless and wildcard chips. Again, as I mentioned at the start of the video, this team is under 100 million, so whether you're on a Limitless or a wildcard, it is affordable. Obviously, if you're on a Limitless, you can make the bench look a lot nicer as well. Could be a little bit more painful though if your bench does score a lot of points and you haven't started them. Now in goals, I have went for Emi Martinez. I think Villa were fairly high for clean sheet odds, but for me, I didn't have any other Villa players in the squad. Was looking at someone like a Morgan Rogers, but I didn't want to play him over the 4 midfielders that I do have. So I just wanted some Villa coverage. I think Emi Martinez is a great one to pick. You know, he's good for saves. He's good for potential player of the match awards, probably not in this match, but he is always someone who can be quite decent, and Villa are, you know, good for clean sheet odds as well. And obviously, as I mentioned, Celtic are missing 2 of their front 3, excluding Nicholas Kuhn, so I don't think there is going to be, you know, many if any goals scored for Celtic in that match. So I think an Aston Villa defender / goalkeeper would be a very, very nice pick. In midfield, I went for Jamal Musiala, Florian Wirtz, Phil Foden and Christian Pulisic. We've got 3 teams that absolutely must win in Pulisic, Foden and Wirtz, and then Musiala playing against Slovan Bratislava. Again, got to get that Bayern double up. If we wait and see, you know, more team news and stuff like that, if Musiala is potentially getting rest, we can always move that one to someone like Olise or Sané or really whoever's playing in that match. For my captaincy, I have opted for Florian Wirtz. Again, must win for Leverkusen. I think they could easily take 4 or 5 off of an already eliminated Sparta Prague. Wirtz has been someone who's picked up, you know, 19 pointers already in this league stage, so I think it's definitely a safe pick to go for. I think he will probably be a popular one as well, because it is you know, I'd probably say the second best fixture. I think there's going to be a lot of people on Harry Kane, so Wirtz could maybe be the second most captained player this week. But I've also rounded my team off with Victor Gyökeres and Antoine Griezmann. Now, I've actually went for no Haaland in this team. Could be a little bit suicide if you know, didn't want to go for Erling Haaland, but I just think these other three strikers could do a little bit better. You've obviously got the option of going for Haaland over someone like Griezmann. I would really want an Atletico attacker, you know, in a must-win game against an already eliminated side. I think either one of Alvarez and Griezmann would be a great pick. Griezmann's obviously got the penalties, which is why I've decided to put him in instead. But I just think it's a little bit, you know, I think he's getting more chance of picking up a big haul. Haaland hasn't been fantastic in recent weeks. He seems to be picking up the form a little bit more now, but I think I'm covering him with Phil Foden. I think he's got the better chance of picking up a big haul. And as I said, I think Bruges are going to be very, very defensive, and they're not exactly a bad team. I think they're about, you know, 10, 11, 12 games unbeaten as well, so I don't think it's going to be a big score line. So I do want to go for a striker who I think could score 2 or 3 goals, and I don't think Erling Haaland is going to be that guy. Obviously, you can totally disagree if you want, you know, that is just my opinion, but 98.3 million in this team, easily affordable for a limitless or wild card. I think for my team this week, not having a chip available, I'm just going to try and use transfers to get as close to this as possible. But let me know what you think of it down in the comments section. Again, make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy the video. My team selection will be out tomorrow, so make sure to turn on notifications so you know when that does come out. Once again, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.